Alright guys, well I wanted to share some information with you about the NV4500 that it took me a minute to gather. So there's two types of NV4500s in brand. You've got the NV4500 from Chevy and the NV4500 from Dodge. Essentially they're the same transmission. However, there were differences in the transmissions, and that's where this video comes into play, because I want to explain to you guys how I ended up where I'm at with my NV4500 setup. My phone's currently sitting on the Cummins, so I don't get any complaints about any kind of wobbly video, so bear with me. So one of the main things is from 93 when they came out in GM trucks to 95 and some late 95s in the 1 ton, 3/4 ton that had the NV4500s, the bell housing to transmission pattern right here was different. So if you want to get a 93 to 95 with a 634 first and reverse gear into your truck, you have to buy, if you want to adapt it to a modern motor, not like I'm adapting mine to a Cummins, so I've got a 96 and newer, and all of the Dodge NV4500s had this same pattern. 93 to 95 Chevy, this pattern for the bell housing to transmission was different, and it will not work if you just try to bolt it up to the back of a Cummins bell housing. What's nice about the 96 and newer Chevy transmissions, and if you want to do a Cummins swap in any Chevy, but you want the 32 spline drivetrain like I wanted, get yourself a 96 and newer Chevy NV4500, simply change the input out to a Dodge input, and on this one I have the fat shaft. It's like 1 3/8 or 1 3/4, I don't remember exactly, but it's the biggest one that came for Dodge. And I have a Dodge bell housing. I'm going to put all the Dodge clutch parts. I have the NV4500 South Bend clutch on the back of my Cummins right now. And once you do that, you can then run any Chevy drivetrain that was 32 spline. And that's what I wanted for my doubler and everything, because 32 spline was the strongest, the best. There really wasn't a whole lot of weak spots inside the 32 spline drivetrain. There are some, but there's not many. So if you were wondering how, if you see my videos, you're wondering how I'm going to run a Cummins to a Chevy transmission and transfer case setup, that's how. 96 and newer and all the Dodge NV4500s had this bolt pattern. The input parts are they're all the same. So you can take a 97 Dodge input and put it into a 93 Dodge or Chevy NV4500, but again, this bolt pattern is different. That's the only difference, and I don't know why Chevy had 3 model years of difference in that one thing, but it does take a different bell housing. This is an advanced adapters. I couldn't get my hands on a factory Dodge part to get for the bell housing, but this way at least I know I've got a brand new one, and everything inside it is brand new. The transmission has been completely rebuilt. My transfer cases, my motor, my entire drivetrain with the exception of my axles have been rebuilt. But I'm going to get it on the road before I rebuild my axles, because they were rebuilt about 40,000 miles ago, so they don't really need it. So hit me up with any questions you have on what I did with my drivetrain, or what I'm going to do with my drivetrain, or my Crossmember choice. Right now I said in the earlier video today that I'm going to use the standard Crossmember that came with the 205 transfer case that's going to bolt up to the foot, that is made up by the adapter between the 203 and the 205. There's an off-road design machine an adapter foot right into it, so you can just bolt it right up. I'll have to move it within the frame, but that's fine. But other than that, hit me up with any questions. I've had a lot of people messaging me about questions, so I would like to keep putting these videos out regardless of the quality, and I apologize if the quality is bad, but there's a lot of this information, these transmission life hacks, if you will, that people just don't know, or they haven't done the research. And the drivetrain that I put in my videos with the motor and everything is about 5 years in the making worth of research. and I'm just now I had the truck running, and I got it down here to New Mexico from South Dakota, but it quit. The transmission exploded on me about 6 miles from my destination, so at least I got it that far, 900 plus miles. And then I went ahead and put the drivetrain that I wanted in it. I put the motor that I wanted in it originally. So if you have any questions, let me know. I will be more than happy to answer any questions and share all of the information. None of this is a secret. If you need information or anything, a lot of the information that I got came from Off-Road Design. Chris and Steve at Off-Road Design have spent more time on the phone with me than I have spent money with them. I had a deploy. I bought all my doubler stuff in 2015, like February 2015. I got deployed. I was gone for almost a year. I came back and I kind of lost touch with what was going on, and I didn't remember all the ins and outs of the doubler from all the research I was doing. So I called Chris one day and I was on the phone with him for about an hour. I talked to Steve today about my NV4500 triple stick kit that wasn't working out right, and I got that all figured out. There's a spacer that was in the box that I didn't realize was part of the whole deal. But like I said, I will share all of the information with anybody that I can, because I know how hard it was for me to find out all these little hacks and all these little things. And not that I couldn't reach out for help, but at the time I wasn't on Facebook, so I didn't have groups like this that I could get into. So by all means, ask questions, and at the end of this, when I get it all built, I'm going to try and put a list of part numbers that made up my drivetrain, because I know I'm not the first person to do this drivetrain, but I know I'm not the last for sure. I know there's a lot of people that want to do an NV4500 behind a Cummins with a 205 or a 203, 205 doubler, or any doubler, doesn't matter. But I will try to get all my part numbers together. I have all the paperwork in a big ass binder. I just need to get it all together and post everything and what it was. So thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Hopefully these videos help you guys out as much as I think they will.